All right. Hi, everyone. So let's use the basics for something actually kind of fun and very challenging as well. The reason we're going to do this is because a lot of times people, first things they do is they get taught the basics. They're like, okay, you're going to have to draw some cubes and some cylinders, and then people do these exercises where they draw the cubes and cylinders and they draw them rotating around. And then they're like, this is boring. I want to draw really hot chicks, and I want to draw thick and boobs and stuff. And then they just want to throw all that out the window and it gets boring, right? So they're like, who wants to do with all this beginner's boring stuff? So usually what'll happen is people will say, okay, well, you need to learn Loomis, and then they'll have you, or they'll show you like Bern Hogarth stuff, and they're immediately launching into organic modeling. So I'd say maybe before you do that, take some time to learn some hard surface modeling, because I'd say that hard surface modeling is an application of the basics, an application of the cylinders and box shapes that you know of, but it is the most difficult application. And that means that when you look at something like this is very unforgiving. It's unforgiving because, number one, you can't rely on your memory. You're going to look at something new. We're around humans all the time. And the problem is that if you've grown up around human beings, like all the rest of us human beings, then the problem is that there's a familiarity there with humans. And so what tends to happen is people tend to assume things. They tend to assume, oh, I know how this thing is or how that thing is, without having actually studied it. When you work with something completely unfamiliar, unless you've been handling a lot of firearms. I happen to be Canadian, which means we have no access to any firearms. Well, it's really difficult. Then it means that the firearms are going to be unfamiliar to us. These are presenting to us a lot of they're inorganic hard surface forms, and they're always machined to precision, right? Like the thing about a gun is a machine. A firearm is a machine. And that means that it has to be built within certain tolerances. The parts all have to slide together and act in certain ways. And you can't fake it, right? Like when you draw vegetation, you can fake it. You can just kind of scribble to suggest leaves, and you can make little circles to suggest flowers. And there's all these things that you can do to suggest and fake things. Same thing with human beings, right? It's like there's a lot of fakery that goes on. So when we look at something like a gun like this, or firearm, it's like, oh my goodness, this thing is like this actual working machine. And this, I think, is a really good way to challenge yourself with the basic skills. And then only when you've taken on that kind of challenge will you actually begin to respect the basic skills. Because the funny thing about cubes is that there's not too many cube-like things in organic objects. Like it's not one-to-one. There's a lot of things that can be smoothed off, and there's a lot of jiggery pokery that goes on in between. Whereas when you look at this firearm, you can pretty much see a lot of straight edges. There's a lot of straight edges, lots of 90-degree angles all over the thing, and lots of cylindrical shapes as well. So when I draw this thing, I'm really not going to be duplicating this exact angle. This is important. When you do your study, don't duplicate the exact same angle, because what'll happen is your brain's going to go into photocopy mode, and you don't want to photocopy the damn thing. So I'm going to change the angle slightly so you can see immediately I'm leaving dots. So these dots would be a way of signifying the point going from here across and down. And you can see right here that this is much steeper than, say, this one is, right? This one's probably an angle more like this. Right? But I'm trying instinctively not to duplicate. Now, another thing is I'm not even going straight away to lines. I'm going to dots. And I'm just going to mark in between. And I'm just doing slight dashes. So right now, all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to control the void magic. I've got this very, very shaky, wibbly-wobbly kind of picture of what's going on. I have a sense of how much space this thing's taking up. But it's not, it's still very shaky. It's still very... it's not 100% there. So hence I'm using a lot of dots. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to map out this rectangular quadrilateral trough this trough right here is what I'm trying to grab. So when we look back down, I can kind of sense that, there's the bolt, there's the bolt lever, which you use to pull the thing open. And I can see there's a breech that opens up here, the top breech. And, I'm going to just section off that. I think that's about the right distance from here to here. Right. So again, I don't necessarily have to draw straight lines. I can draw dashed lines. Right. I'm trying to keep things. Then we have this, it is a block of cartridges, or actually this is one of the few times in which case we actually say clip instead of magazine. That's right. So they're put into, I think they call this an en bloc clip. En bloc. It's a French term. So it clips the bullets together. And this is incidentally the thing that when you fire off all the bullets out of the M1, the thing goes ping, and it launches that en bloc clip out. That en bloc clip is the thing that goes ping. So yeah, we'll just have that thing rising at the top. So I'm using this thing just shoots out the y-axis. So in Cartesian coordinates, y-axis is up. X-axis is going to be this way, horizontal. And so that's going to be our x-axis, and our z-axis or z-axis is going to be going this way. All right, so y is going straight up. So this way, now if actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to just draw a little, I'm going to draw a gnomon. Okay, so there's our x, and then green, I believe, is the color for y. So let's put our y-axis there, and then blue is going to be our z-axis. And this way, I'm going to be explaining the directions based on these Cartesian axes. So Z is going down the gun barrel. It's barrel-wise. All right, let's continue. So let's see. I'm going to get the depth of, I'm going to get the X width of that en bloc clip. We're going to mark that off. And I'm not even going to be 100% when it comes, like 100% accurate when it comes to the proportions of that. So we can see that there's a rectangular chunk that's like popping right out there. And then we've got staggered rounds. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I don't see any additional rounds. So I think I'm guessing, I can only guess that there's actually only 8 rounds in this magazine or in this clip. For once, I keep correcting myself. It's kind of funny. I think in video games very often the terminology is clip. People will say, "Oh, I'm out of clips," except when they mean magazine. And then you've got that character in Apex Legends who's always like correcting you. Oh, it's not a clips are things civilians put in their hair. This is a magazine. It's like that's the character that basically goes, I know how to use guns. So now here's another thing is right now I got to figure out where's the bottom of the bottommost bullet, which is probably around here. Where's the top of the topmost bullet? So I just caught myself. I made a screw up. I did a serial process. I should have done parallel process. So I'll explain serial and parallel in just a second. Okay, so if we look at this bunch of 4 bullets here, there's the top of the top bullet. There's the bottom of the bottom bullet like that. Now, when I talk about serial versus parallel processing, or actually I should even call it subdivision processing, is that serial processing means you go from left to right like this. Like if you're trying to draw a vent grate or a grill, you draw them, sometimes you might be inclined to draw them in serial, in sequence like this, sequential. If you're going to do things in subdivision or parallel processing, then what you do is you split like that, then you figure out where's the midpoint, and then you subdivide again, and you subdivide again. So the thing is that you never, you can just keep subdividing. And what this does is this is a way of making sure that you always maintain regularity. It avoids drift. So one of the problems of doing things like this is that sometimes you will drift and it goes all over the place. So if you do this kind of parallel, or you do the subdivision approach, then it is a way of dealing with the problem of drift whenever you have to deal with a series of objects. And yes, 4 bullets counts as a series. Anytime you've got more than 2 objects, you're essentially counting up a series of objects. So yeah, you're going to have to use some sort of subdivision system. Now, if you're just not getting the ellipse wrong, sometimes you're going to be inclined to, I'm just going to draw the ellipse, right? You're going to try and just draw this little ellipse here. And more often than not, you're going to do a bad job of it, just like I did. So sometimes what I do is I actually force myself to draw a line that is parallel to the x-axis, and then I will square. So I'm going to square these bullets off. You're going to be like, why? Why? They're not square. They're brown. They're supposed to be. And so look, it's just a stepping stone, right? It's a precursor stage, because like I say, not everything has been settled yet, right? Not everything's been, the position of things is still very shaky. The spatial magic is still going. Blah, 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 blah. So, I'm going to figure out, let's drop that down about that much. And once again, I did a serial when I should have done a subdivision. So I should have measured the bottom of that first. So it looks like, the distance from here to here is spatially about the same as the here to here. And just, you got to remember that this is a raised edge that is sticking up in front. So these are all things that just kind of have to keep in mind. And I guess this is probably going to drop down even further inside. So we've got this edge here. And again, don't try to draw like straight lines. Instead what you do is you can draw little dashed lines and really control every single dash, right? And again, you can get the start, get the end, then kind of dash between the two. This way, if you try to draw like a single line like that, what'll happen is you get drift, you get wibble wobbles. And wibble wobbles are a really, really bad thing to have in a mechanical drawing, hard surface inorganic. So I'm just going to carve that there. We're going to go ... That's right. Take it slow, and like it is certainly a greater amount of mental burden. But the thing is, like, that's the price, right? Like, that's why if you want that accuracy, there's a price for the accuracy. You have to pay that price. This is the price. Whenever you perform this kind of extra amount of mental burden, right? That's your mana. Okay. You only got so much mana. You're going to be working on the drawing. You're going to be working on trying to render out this mechanical object. And then by the end of it, you're going to feel mentally drained. Yeah. That's your MP going. Don't worry. The more of this stuff that you do, like, the greater your pool of MP goes. You'll actually maybe it's not that the pool of MP grows. It's more like your efficiency goes up. Your mana efficiency will go up, and eventually, you may actually start to memorize certain shapes. Some of that stuff will find its way into routine. Here's one of the wonderful things about working in routine is that, let me tell you, I don't go out very often. So every time this happens, this is very, very memorable to me. But it's like when I leave the house and I have to go and go to the bus stop or whatever, then what'll happen is I'll go out on autopilot. I'll walk out of the house on total freaking autopilot. I'll get to the bus stop and then I'll realize, shit, here we go again. I forgot my wallet, right? Forget my wallet. And then it's like, I got to go back home. I got to walk. And I look back and I'm like, how the fuck did I get to the bus stop so fast? It's like, I swear, it's like it's like literally, it's like I put on my shoes, I stepped at the door, poof, I'm here, and it's like, fuck, I need my wallet. And the journey from the bus stop back to the house is like cursing all the way. Shit, fuck, damn, shit, fuck, damn, shit, fuck, damn, shit, fuck, damn, shit, fuck, damn. And it seems to take forever, right? It's like it's just a terrible storm all the way back to get your wallet. You get your wallet, and then you're like, I gotta go back to the bus stop. Shit, fuck, damn, shit, fuck, damn, shit, fuck, damn. All the way back to the bus stop. And now, see, this is the difference between doing things manually and doing things on autopilot. When you do things on autopilot, they don't even register. They are so easy to do, they don't even register. Whereas if you have to do something manually, then it's a giant pain in the ass. And so when you learn things, when you learn how to draw cones and cubes and cylinders, and you learn how to do these various drawing exercises, and you're new to them, you're doing them all in manual mode. And so people will do these exercises. They'll say, hey, those cylinders turned out pretty good. Those boxes turned out pretty good. And then they'll say, well, looks like I know how to draw boxes. Looks like I know how to draw cylinders. Time for the next step. And I'm like, fuck no, bitch. You only know it in manual mode. You don't yet have it in automatic mode, because I tell you one thing is that the whole time that you're drawing those cubes and whatnot, you're going shit fuck damn. And if you want to draw art, okay, you want to draw the art with lots of passion and that kind of thing. Well, you're not going to be able to do it if you don't have the basics in automatic mode. If you can't engage automatic mode, you're going to be trying to draw hot, thick women while going shit fuck damn. And it's just not going to happen. It's just not happening. It's going to take too much of your concentration. So, yeah, this is one of the reasons why we practice, right? So the thing is that there's the lesson, there's the knowledge that any lesson or video or whatever can give to you, but it ain't enough, because it only gives it to you in manual mode. And this is the purpose of practice. The purpose of practice is to get it to like auto mode. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm drawing the stagger of bullets. In fact, I'm going to draw the stagger so you can see. And these are the stagger of the tips of the bullets, like that. So you're going to see, right? See, this one goes up here, that staggers down, and it staggers down again, and right? Like that. That's what I'm drawing. So I'm drawing the staggers of the bullets. Every single step of the way, right? This is I'm in manual mode, baby, because I've never drawn a Garand. I've never drawn like this. I've never drawn this part. Well, okay, so we got a point there. Okay, so it looks like I've got to slow down once again, and I'm trying to serial process something. So here's the thing about serial processing is that serial processing is really easy on the brain. The problem is it sucks. It sucks when it comes to accuracy. Serial processing is really good for catching details, but it sucks for structure. So that means that when you're in the starting stages, you have to really, really avoid that impulse to work in serial mode. You're going to want to work in subdivision mode. Okay, so what are those little tick marks there? They are these like little tick, like it's simply a depth limit. It's just simply it's a marker on the z-axis to say, okay, that's where they're all kind of cutting. So a lot of this is just measuring, right? Like all this stuff here is measuring. So I know that there's like a cylindrical shape right here that's right at the tips of the bullets, of the bliets, of the chicka bliets. So, or is it suka? It's suka bliet. That's right. Okay, so demonetize. That's why I never monetize anything, right? It's like I have nothing monetized on my videos, so I can swear and just not feel bad about the fact that my videos are not advertiser friendly. Yeah. It's okay. So anyway, let's see. Oof. Right. So we're getting a lot of right. It's veering off. Now I could rotate my picture, or you know what I can do? I can just decide not to rotate it and just carefully dot. You know, and I'll eventually get it. because this is hard, right? This is easy, but then when I do this, actually, you know what? Yeah, why not? Screw it. Okay, right. So, yeah, lines like this are really difficult. Just because the problem is that my physical pen is in the way of where I want to go. So just, yeah, know when you're having those problems, right? It's like if you're driving, you got to know, hey, I'm losing traction. Well, sorry, Canadian drivers have to worry about traction when it comes to ice. And they're like, oh, we got ourselves a slippery stretch. Oh, better slow down, better ease up, better ease up on the gas pedal. And so that's what you have to do is you got to be aware of whenever you just don't have the traction, whenever you just are losing control of the pen and the thing just isn't going. Like if you just have to be able to sense when you're losing control of the pen. And that's one of the things about drawing these. Oh, I can see the problem, right? So the thing is, here's the other thing is that whenever as you're going along, you're going to be correcting mistakes. You're going to be like, oh. And the only reason why I can correct these mistakes is because I've been so diligent and careful everywhere else. It's like the more as you begin to approach perfection, all of your flaws stand out, right? So the thing is that in a way, it's almost like working with a symphony orchestra. If the rest of the band is playing really, really well, and then some guy is on the clarinet goes toot, and he's all out of tune and whatnot, and then you just want to kill him and you eat him, like Hannibal Lecter. That's the thing, right? Is that whenever things are out of place, they start to jump out at you. So that's why you need this careful diligence. Anyone seen that movie? It's pretty good. Really like Anthony Hopkins. Right. So the thing is that I think speaking for myself, drawing detail, right? Detail porn. Fuck it, let's just call it that. Detail porn. Detail porn is a lot of fun, right? So you just want to sit there and you want to just draw that all those fine little ridges and like the neural, right? Everyone loves to draw detail porn, right? It just feels really because detail's good, right? Detail's supposed to be one of these wonderful things. It's almost like a virtue of drawing. At least when you're starting out, right? That's what we sense it as. So I think that we're always kind of champing at the bit. We're always champing at the bit, wanting to throw in all this detail, all this delicious. It's like you want to motorboat that detail. But the problem is the detail's no good if it's improperly placed. If it's very improper, very dirty. Okay. Now we got the gun sight little. So pretty much every time I break a line, every time you see like the line kind of split up like that, it just means that like I just do it because I feel like the pen is like I'm just losing control of the line. Right? I just feel like the line, I'm not going to be able to make that line go where I want it to. So I purposely break up that line. Because it's okay if I have really shoddy lines as long as they are going where they should be, or the majority of them are going where they should, then I'm satisfied. I can live with that. I can deal, yo. I can deal. And eventually this stuff will become meditative, right? It'll be very, just becomes kind of relaxing. Those bullets I'm going to leave for later. I know those are going to be like really, really hard. So again, you're right. It's like, sorry, this little dot here, that's like literally that corner there, right? So they're just like these little spatial markings, and sometimes I'll go dot 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 dot, and I'll be like, all right, I can tell what it is that I was doing. I can flip the drawing just so I can get the line to go where I want it to go. All right, and then, all right, so that goes in the x-axis. And then we can drop that down in the y-axis. Oh, you see that? It's like that line wanted to go this way, right? It needs to go this way. Well, not that. So again, you do the dots so that way, you can, let me turn off my autosave. Sorry, I thought I turned it off. No, inactivated. Okay, good. I think it's probably because I hit escape earlier there we are. All right, good. So again, I'm going to this is the wooden part. So yeah, that looks about right. It's kind of cool. Like looking at it up this close, like looking at it this close, it really almost feels like a giant, like a scaled down cannon. Like a piece of artillery. All right, and then this part here. Let's get rid of that. You'll notice this is why I like tools which are, there's no pressure sensing. There's no pressure sensing. There's no like line width or anything. It's just, there's just one kind of line that comes out of the whole thing. Kind of like a real pen. I guess real pens have a little bit of pressure, but it's just, I don't want to fight with that. I have a hard enough time getting the lines to go exactly where I want them to. That I don't need to deal with, that I just don't want to have to deal with like pressure issues. Okay, so in here, right, these two little dots that I just put down, those are just to mark that point and that point. And you can see there's a gap here because the whole thing has to slide down onto a rail on the other side, I think. And incidentally, that scope is offset. That scope does not sit directly above the Garand because you gotta shove the en bloc clip from above. So that scope has to be off to the side. Unlike most other guns, not too many guns are top loaders like this. I think the Brand's also a top loader. I really love like drawing old historical guns like this. They're real pieces of art. It's like, have you ever seen some of the ones which have like those engravings and they have the scrolls, like you've seen stuff like they do things like this. And then I guess they come around and maybe this one kind of touches like that and it goes around and there's like this leafing pattern. Right? I really love seeing when they have all that scroll work and they engrave it. It's really nice, they do that. It's quite beautiful. Anyway, because it's detail porn, right? It's grand. It's like detail porn, maybe not on a grand scale, but on a very minute, on a very intricate scale. Gotta love that detail porn. Yeah. I see. Every time I try to draw a line, it wants to go in, right? So you got to catch yourself. You got to say, don't stop, undo. Like just get the dot where it can go. If you can't get the line to go where you want it to, then do a dot instead. Right. So this is, and you know what else I did? I can totally see where I screwed up. Like, man, boy, did I ever screw up. Like, look at the length of this and look at the length of this, right? Like these are this distance to that distance is kind of it's very comparable to that distance there, right? So like we can just totally see where I fucking totally ass over tea kettle fuck that up. So yeah, let's fix that. That's because I didn't get the start and the end of the thing. You got to get the start and the end, and then you got to divide it. All right, so catch yourself doing these things. You got to catch yourself and then make it, and then erase. You got to erase it. That's your punishment. That's your punishment for being lax. There we are. That's much better. That's the problem, right? It's like you don't get to do your detail porn until, like, that's the thing. I think it's people wanting to just I understand, right? There's a need to get that detail porn off, right? You're just trying to get your detail porn off as before you've gone through all the proper procedures. You want to get to the hot and sexy detail before you've even taken her out to dinner. There we go. Okay, good. Yes, yes. Sorry, I was just like checking to say, it's like, oh, do the bolts go out to here? No, they don't. Okay, oh, you. That was close. That was like, I almost had a lot of erasing to do. Hey, you got a lot of erasing to do, mister. Whew. I almost, just almost. All that careful measurement, it's just. And like I say, using, dots, baby. Gotta go with the dots. Gotta go with the dots all you can. It's like that is just a really, yeah, okay, we'll flip it over. Right, every time I flip it over, it's kind of disorienting. So I like to resist, constantly flipping. Some people like to, flip on every single line, but what I try to do is I just try to constantly pay attention to my peripheral vision, and I don't flip all the time. But I use lots of dots to say, hey, there's something here. It's again, it's a way of just. All right, so I think that in terms of the y-axis, the top of this hinge matches up with the top of this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, so I'm just going to mark a cross in the x-axis like that. And I think that somewhere around here is like the start of that hinge. And I think that hinge is lined up roughly around here. Yeah, it's lined up around on this bit here. So let's flip it over. Okay, so it's from here forward. And I can see that there's a hole down here. So I think that the hinge lines up. Oh, let's see, how long are those bullets? I'm pretty sure it's around that long. Only problem is that I can tell that the top of this hinge is lining up with that hole. So we have an issue here, right? And you're going to have those. Oh, I know what's happening. We can see that the hinge is overlapping with the tips of those bullets. So, okay, so that resolves my doubt. So I'm going to just get rid of that. And that means that so this is going to go over in the x-axis, and then it's going to go straight up. Yeah, whereas this thing partially, and I think that goes back just a teeny bit. Okay, so there's our hinge mapped out in Cartesian. I mean, this is mostly done in isometric perspective. We're not even worrying about like foreshortening. There's like a slight amount of foreshortening in all of this. So there's our hinge. And then we've got the windage and elevation adjustments. So you got those little knobs. Those little knobs are so that you can calibrate the scope and make it. You can adjust the windage and elevation. So before I draw those two knobs, there's like the blocks here. There's these two blocks. The blocks just meet up right there. So now that I've got that hinge that I can mostly trust, I'm pretty sure I can use that. I can draw one of the blocks off of that. And then I can see at the bottom, oh, right. So like the bottom of that hinge is like meeting the bottom of that little extension right there. So, okay, so what I got to do is I got to get rid of this line here. That's misleading. It's about that thick. And it comes over about this far. Right, and then drops down. That one, yeah, about there. That drops down. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. Okay, and then we sink in about this far, and then we're gonna just draw like this. So the idea is that I'm just gradually. Okay, so let's see, how high does it go up? It goes up about that far. So, right, all of this is just kind of based off of just like a hunch. Largely based off of a hunch. And that seems about right. Oh, right. And then it overhangs. So the dang thing is going to not just stop there. It goes, blah, 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 it comes out all the way over here. So we got a big rectangular piece like that. There we are. I do the dotted lines again because I'm too shaky, yo. Oh, man. Whew. hard stuff, hard work. Like, it's like costs a lot of mana. It costs a lot of mana. And I think the hinge is actually a lot more girthy, textured and girthy for her pleasure. All right, that's good. And then kind of chopping right off at that hinge and dropping straight down. There we have the other block. Good. Okay, so we have this. Man, that thing's looking like really huge. It looks humongous. It looks humongous. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I feel like this part here is like too far to over in the x-axis. So, I'm feeling very lazy. We'll just cut this and move it over here. All right, that looks okay. That's much better. No one has to know. No one has to know. No witnesses. None. All right. All right. Told you this stuff is like challenging and kind of unforgiving. There we are. That's one of the other benefits of using a pen like this, right? If you're using the brush, which just doesn't have any pressure sensing, it's like if you do cutting and slicing, like no one will know. All right. Yeah, actually I can probably like move that over just back a bit. Actually, no. If I look at the exposed part of the bullet from here to here, we can see that it's, about comparable. That is also kind of about comparable to that. So you start to like realize, you start to pay attention to certain similarities. It's all about them alignments, and this is how you maintain proportions when you deal with something like this. So, like, I've been drawing for over a decade and a half, but this stuff is still a challenge, right? This stuff is like taking on it's like committing Sudoku. And, it's challenging, right? It's like really, and it's just the basics. It's just all cylinders and, oh man, I can see where I fucked up. Yeah, it's that again, right? It's the whole, when you start to get tired, when I start to get tired, I start to lapse into like serial processing. And I think, oh yeah, it's like, oh, the structure's done. Okay, fine. Now time to do serial. Time to do detail porn. So, you got to catch yourself. Sorry, I have like a little gap in my teeth, and then it sucks. Sometimes like air just gets sucked through there, and it makes this really piercing sound. I hate that sound actually, because I've got everything that you guys can hear is coming through my mic. Is like everything that's coming into the microphone is coming out of my headphones, so I can tell when there's like annoying sounds. Uh-oh. Okay, ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna have to, again, I need to do some choppy pasty here. Yeah, let's move that over. Okay, maybe something like that. Right, okay. And then I can erase that so it's not so wide. Yeah, I knew these blocky things were too freaking huge. They're enormous. Like obviously not right. Obviously not right. And it just, comes down to brushing, right? Like, I'm sure you guys are watching this and you're all like, oh my God, Mark's taking so long to draw the details. And I can totally see the shapes and where they should go, and I could do this in like half the time. And that's what I always think whenever I see someone doing this sort of detail porn, is it's kind of infuriating to watch, right? It's like you'd think that you can get it done even faster, and then it turns out when you actually try it for yourself, it's like, oh my god, this thing's like fucking hard. It's rock hard, yo. Oh man. Okay, good. Yes, it's rock hard. Think of all the innuendos that I keep pulling off throughout this entire. It's like it's the innuendo entertainment system. I think that's probably another aspect of getting old. Like I'm 40 now. The older you get, the more dad jokes you make. And let me tell you, like, I've hung out with Glenn Vilppu. That guy makes a fucking shit ton of dad jokes. But I mean, he's wholesome. I'm not wholesome. Oh, detail porn. And knurling, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, I can't even see the knurling in the photograph. I just know that it's there. So, knurling is that kind of cross-hatchy texture that's on the knobs to make them easier to grip and twist. Yeah. Just occurred to me that, you know, my mom's downstairs. She can probably hear all the weird sounds that I'm making. She's gonna be like, did you have a good video recording session? I'm like, yeah, I was teaching people how to draw, Mom. Just gotta extend those. I need to make room for the screw holes. Oh, yeah. You gotta screw real good. Yeah. Fucking terrible. Just terrible. Can't take me anywhere. Cannot take me anywhere. Demonetized. You know what? It just occurred to me that, like, all the stuff that they want to demonetize are things that I find entertaining. They're all things that I find entertaining. So it basically just means that if you're demonetized, then, or I should say that if you're monetized, you can't be entertaining. That's what I would say. Like, if you're really worrying about your monetization status. That's okay. All right, so that looks decent. And there's the scope. There's the cylindrical scopy part of this thing. And again, I have to kind of spatialize this. Gotta control the void magic, because here we are out in the area of unknown. Like, literally unknown. What's going on? I don't know. No one knows. And then I can see over here, like halfway on, right, I can see that there's a band. So it's probably like a focus adjust. or I don't know, an eye relief adjust. How the fuck am I supposed to know? I'm Canadian. I don't have any firearms. You want to know something kind of funny is that sometimes I've seen people and they get real, I don't know. When they want to make one of those statements, I've seen people say, I'm very disappointed. You know, oh, it's really disappointing. I'm like, and they say it's like it's disappointing that you would, say these terrible things, that you would say these offensive things. And I'm like, well, I don't know who you are. I wasn't ever trying to live up to your expectations. So you can just go pound sand for all I care. There we are. Yeah, get that knurling on there. Yeah. Oh. Okay. I mean, it's gradually coming together, right? But like the main central area is like, there's still no detail in there yet. And I know it's probably very frustrating for some people. It's like, come on, Mark, just freaking draw the detail. I'm getting there. But the thing is this, is that I wanted to make sure that everything around was okay. Everything was, I can see how bendy that is. Freaking bendy toots. All right, that's better. Bah, look how bendy that is. Must not bendiness. That's better. Okay. I'm drawing the shiny shines on it now. You can call that a form of detail porn, if you will. Oh, yeah. Local man films self drawing detail porn. Onlookers horrified. Story at 8. You know, don't you remember like the good old days of YouTube? I feel like usually when things get older, like, YouTube, whenever a piece of software, whenever you get like new versions of things, it's supposed to get better, right? But in the case of YouTube and maybe Photoshop, like these are examples of programs that and pieces of software, or YouTube is software. They're software that haven't aged well. Like they've gotten worse over time, right? It's like Adobe used to be the thing where you'd buy it, and you buy it like one time, you get a perpetual license, and it's like, oh yeah, right? And it was like, it used to be fast and tight and light, and it used to be all that in a bag of chips. And then over time, it got really bloated and slow, and then they switched to like a subscription payment model, and I kind of feel like the same things in a way has kind of happened to YouTube, right? It's like it used to be really cool. It used to have like a lot of user-generated content. UGC. Remember when that was a term? They actually had like when the trending tab actually had creator content. Now it's like it's all late night TV, cable. It's all cable television, right? It's all been the trending tab has been taken over by cable television. You know, back in my day, it used to be that when you got a piece of software, they had a thing called shareware, right? Or crippleware. Oh yeah, that's a great term, crippleware. That's a very, very politically incorrect term, crippleware. So it used to be crippleware, where you essentially have a piece of software, but they remove several of the important features, right? And so that would encourage you to buy the full version, right? So they cripple. That's why it's called crippleware. And I feel like all of the web software out there, like Twitter and Facebook and whatnot, right? Like they used to be good once, but they're essentially now all crippleware. And then the thing is that you can't even pay a price to get, a proper version of the software, right? Like it's permanently crippleware now. And I don't think it's ever going to get better. It's like, sorry, we're just never going to see the software get better. Like those days are long gone. Okay, now I'm going to erase this away. Man. Okay, so the bullets look like they're going to have to be a little truncated in order to fit. But that's okay. No one's going to know. No witnesses. Wait. No, I got the perfect excuse. It's just a sketch. That always works. People always say, "Oh, it's just a sketch." Okay. I don't know why, but I just suddenly had like a vision of my dentist using using the Cavitron. Just doing all that little cleanup. Okay, so I can see some issues. I can see one thing that I should do is I should really guide this around, like that line goes around and kind of down over there, the bullets. So you can see, right? It goes around. Get around. I get it. Okay, so all right, so it gets around. Okay, I can smell spagooter because I think my mom is making spaghetti. She's already going to come up and say dinner time soon. I'm going to have to wrap this up. Ooh, that does not look, no. It didn't look good, did it? It didn't look good at all. It looked horrible, in fact. So I don't know. I kind of see some kind of thing that looks like, and I'm just guessing here. All right, let's see. And then just trying to make that area feel like it's extra dark. Like I'm trying to do some ambient occlusion shadows in there. I'm just trying to do like multiple levels of gradation. Okay, and then trying to get a little bit more of the body done, but at least all the central mechanics are done. I'm just looking up at the stock now. I'm just like, I look for little things like this curve, and then I look at, oh, that lines up with the trigger. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for all these little alignments. Right? Can't make that line go. So if you can't, then just there. That kind of goes around and just trying to do it some justice. I don't have a good view of the rest of the stock, so I'm really guessing at this point. I don't like to draw and I'm just guessing. Doesn't feel good. So I'm only drawing little suggestive lines that say, there's a trigger guard here. But all in all, I think it turned out okay. I'm just going to keep working at this until the call for Spagooter comes. Yeah. All right. There we are. And then this part kind of. Now I get to do the detail porn. Oh, did I detail porn the wrong thing? I think I totally did. Yeah, I totally detail porned the wrong thing. That's the shell right there. Make it fit. That's the interior of the clip. I don't know what this little line is, but I'm getting rid of it because it's misleading. I'm getting rid of some of the other bits that don't need to be there. And I'm going to complete. Yeah. There we are. Rated M for mature. Okay, here we are. I'm just thinking these. It is really just a matter of time before I get in trouble. There we are. I've been considering the possibility of adding like royalty-free music, but then I've decided, you know what? Screw that. I'm not going to have any music. I'm just going to try and keep this channel running as quiet as possible. And then if you guys want music, then you should just load up your own. Because, what if our tastes in music don't match up? That looks pretty neat. Yeah, that's looking all right. kind of funny. It's like once you start throwing in all the little hatching, then it just seems to come together. But it's like everything has to be in place to begin with before you can do all that hatching stuff. Just doing that to say, there's a slight shadow just before that on block clip drops in. There we are. And it seems to kind of bevel out and smooth out here. I'm going to try and make some of these bits here stand out a bit more. You know what they need? More shading, totally. Maybe to work on the overlaps. Those are some stumpy bullets, though. Those are some really stumpy bullets. Yeah, you know what? That's probably about as far as I want to take this. All right, there we go. So, yeah, it's all mostly cylinders and some right angles. You can see if I control tab, that should flip between the two. All right, that's it.